BetaCity YEG, what we've learned, only 5 minutes, we'll go through 5 years of stuff. Good. Just a little bit about us. We're a meetup that happens every month outside of the summer where we do two things. We do talks. We have people come in 2 to 3 talks, and the talks come from community. They could be from nonprofits, from entrepreneurs, social enterprises. In this case, we had someone from a grad student from academia talking about how to gamify volunteering. So that's one of the type of talks that we give. The other type of talks that we often have are coming from the city of Edmonton, where they come to talk about the projects and the initiatives they're working on so that they can get some feedback from the community about what they're working on. In this case, this was about a project to try and adopt a program in the US to help entrepreneurs and citizens be able to work on projects without having to go through the onerous RFP processes. So that's one thing we do. We do talks, but the other thing is we work on projects as well. So I'm going to dive quickly into those because we don't have much time. Here are a few select projects, and the first one I'm going to talk about is actually really simple. It's a 360-degree camera. And David, who was one of the founders for this meetup, just took the camera and went on walks through the city valley. Through our parks, and it's nothing technical, but it's using something. He just needed to upload the photos online, and there's over 100,000 views on these photos themselves, but that's a way of contributing towards civic tech without being technical. And then there's linkyeg.ca. This is a project that allows people who are, let's say, in need, maybe someone who's in crisis, 3 o'clock in the morning, try and figure out what's available. Is there food places that are available around me? What's open? And it provides you a directory of this. What's fascinating about this, beyond kind of some of the headlines when it released, is this is a project that was open source and cloned and adopted from LinkSF. So it's just using more from the civic tech community that exists outside of Edmonton. I really like this project. This is one where BetaCity YEG, one of our attendees, took code to connect air quality data for the city and connected it through if this and that, this application, wrote the code for it so that a hue light bulb would change colors depending on the air quality. And a local artist took this further and then made an exhibit out of it. So it's a few people working together on that sort of printing. We've heard you can benefit before. This project didn't exist from the get-go. This was just pure code from one of the attendees and a few volunteers from the BetaCity YEG meetup. And this was really fascinating because not only does this allow people, help people get connected to the benefits and subsidies that are available out there, this was enough of an important service and did enough impact where the city of Edmonton actually taken this up, made this as part of the city of Edmonton services, and they're maintaining this. This here is a project about visualizing hundreds of thousands of property assessments at a single click dynamically, and this is using the open data portal, open data from the city of Edmonton. And what's really interesting about this is it kind of took open data and pushed the limits of what was able to be visualized on a browser. And I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So 2 key learnings. One, I actually didn't see Dan's slides earlier, but it's interesting. Talk about a little bit about inclusion here. But when it comes to these sort of projects, you want technical people, techies I'm going to call it, who are able to work on these. Unfortunately, they're just a really small proportion of the overall population. What we want to cater a little bit more to are people who are tinkerers, who can actually work on, who are students who want to work on some things, or people who just want to tinker. And then there's a vast majority of the population who are non-technical as well. Instead of just focusing on the 1%, we try to be inclusive. And so you look at these projects and they go all the way from non-technical to a technical perspective. And that's what we try and do. We want to be open and welcoming to a bunch of people. What's probably just as important too, though, is that by bringing these people in, by helping education and providing projects and opportunities, you move people down the stretch where non-technical people can start having opportunities to learn and build. And the other thing that was a learning for us is this ecosystem, right? We can't do everything alone, all by ourselves. The Edmonton Library does a lot of great work in increasing digital literature. The city of Edmonton is innovative, most open city in Edmonton for a few years running now. And one thing that I learned, right. Oh, I'm so stressed, man. This time thing. Okay, one thing I've learned is there's this OGP summit that happened recently in Ottawa, basically the international open data summits, and just the idea of having safe space. We have no idea how privileged we are in the world that we live in, and in Edmonton, that Startup Edmonton is providing us space to do that. And obviously, Code for Canada and connecting us with the different communities across Canada. That's it. Thank you very much. We're looking to do basically, we're doing a 5-year vision for what we want to do next with BetaCity YEG. So we're expanding our reach. Welcome any ideas or help that you might have. Thank you all very much.